Yo, 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 how's it going, everyone? Welcome into a brand new episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. I'm your host, Spencer Urquhart, ready to bring y'all a Kansas race preview. We're going to Kansas and also discussing Kyle Larson's crazy month of May. My goodness, the calendar is now flipped to May, and Kyle Larson's got a lot on his plate, it's safe to say, because, man, he's doing even more than just the Cup Series and the Indy 500. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, this is going to be a fun one, y'all. Strap in. Kansas, one of those tracks that's not an iconic track, but it's a track that's usually pretty solid. It's one of those ones that you can usually bet on it having some action. And last year had a really good spring race finish between Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. So it's one of those tracks where it's usually most of the typical suspects up there, usually not a track that lends itself to upsets. Although Eric Jones finished third in the fall race last year, I believe. We'll have an update on him in this episode as well. Eric Jones won't be back this week, but we'll be back very soon. So we'll be talking about that here in just a bit. But we're going to start this thing off with the Kyle Larson stuff because, man, his month of May is crazy. I started thinking about it because of the recent news of Kevin Harvick having to practice and qualify for him for the All-Star race. And I was like, man, is Kyle Larson going to even make the All-Star race, be able to do it? It's not a certainty. It'll depend on how Indy 500 qualifying goes. Kevin Harvick will be on standby in case Larson can't participate in North Wilkesboro. I believe he's the defending race winner of the All-Star race. It'd be a shame if he couldn't do it. Hopefully he can pull it off, and hopefully his ambitious schedule goes according to plan, because my goodness, he is actually racing sprint cars today and tomorrow, and he is going to be really busy with that before this Kansas race. And so, yeah, he's got that this weekend, 2 sprint car events, May 3rd, May 4th, and then the Cup race, obviously, at Kansas. And he'll have to get back for qualifying and all that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But anyway, that's just the start of it, y'all. This is just the beginning. But nothing too much in the Darlington week. Doesn't have anything on his schedule leading up to the Darlington week. So May 12th is Darlington. That's the next Cup race after this. So this is when his schedule really gets busy, is after the Darlington race, because on Monday he's got a sprint car event in Indiana. So right by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, because Tuesday is Indy 500 practice. Tuesday through Friday, he's got practice each day, and he'd be wise to use each day, and I'm sure he will, because, man, it's Indy 500 is a one-of-a-kind event. You want to take advantage of all the track time you can get, and so that's the time to do it. May 14th through 17th, he'll be practicing for the Indy 500. And then the Saturday, May 18th, is Indy 500 qualifying, which is also the day of the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. So to break that down for y'all, how that's going to go is, and during the day, while this is going on, is going to be All-Star race qualifying and practice, which Kevin Harvick is going to be doing for Kyle Larson. Be Kevin Harvick's first seat time as a retired Cup driver. He'll be temporarily coming out of retirement to help out Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. Not sure who's going to replace Harvick in the booth in the instance of Larson not being able to race, because qualifying begins 3 o'clock. The top 12, all the cars go in the top 12, advance to see who's going to be in the Fast Six, which takes place later on. At 3 o'clock, we got the top 12 qualifying. Then the last chance qualifying will be after that. And so Larson, the best case for him would be to just get it over with, as far as just get in the top 12, because then you're guaranteed in. And then at that point, he could just skip the Fast Six, because then at 5 o'clock, once the last chance is decided, then you got the Fast Six to decide the first 2 rows. And at that point, he might just be like, well, I want to do the All-Star race. I'm going to not worry about that and just take 12th starting position, which would save him time, because then he wouldn't have to mess with last chance. He could just dip as soon as he gets his ticket into the top 12, and then he should be able to get back to North Wilkesboro in plenty of time. But if he has to do the freaking Fast Six, I mean, I haven't charted the flight schedule and all that, but I guess we could get a direct flight to there. But man, North Wilkesboro, I mean, where would he even fly into? I mean, there's no international airport out there. So, I mean, the Charlotte Indy thing, it's like, I mean, if he's got a private helicopter and stuff, that's what Tony Stewart did for his when he did the double back in 2001, and he was able to complete it successfully. So if Larson has a private jet helicopter with him, I'm sure he does. Now that I'm thinking about it, I had a brain fart there thinking he'd have to fly like with links to international airports. You don't have to worry about that. He's VIP. He gets to get ahead of the curve as far as all that. So he might be able to pull this off, even if he has to do last chance qualifying and Fast Six and all that. But he might just want to play it safe and be like, man, because if you have to hop right out of a freaking plane or helicopter immediately in a race car, I mean, just think of all the G's that is on your body. Like, man, he's going to be so exhausted. I know he's a trooper. He's arguably the greatest pure racer of this generation as far as a guy. He can hop into anything and win, as evidenced by his even still doing the sprint car events. I mean, he's probably the best pure racer since Tony Stewart. And as far as success, I mean, Tony was really successful. I mean, hell, don't get me wrong, but Kyle Larson, man, my gosh, he is well on his way to being one of the greatest to ever do it. And he's got a chance to make his mark in history this May, because if he can pull this stuff off, if he can get back to North Wilkesboro, which is essentially a double, because, I mean, he's going to be tied up with Indy 500 qualifying for most of the day, and then get back to do the All-Star race. I mean, that'll be an impressive feat within itself. So we'll see if he can get it done. All-Star race scheduled to start at 8 o'clock. So like I said, there's a chance he could make it back, even if he doesn't have a quick qualifying effort at Indy. But if he has a quick qualifying effort, he'll for sure get to do the All-Star race. Yeah, but anyway, long story short, it sounds like Larson will be able to do the All-Star race, but it could get messy if he ends up in the later stages of Indy 500 qualifying. So, and then after that, he has got practice on the Monday, the 20th, and he's got practice again the Friday. Saturday, he's got some autograph stuff he could do. I'm sure he'll want to do that with the Indy 500, and then got Coca-Cola 600 that day qualifying. And then Sunday's his big day, going to fly between them, I'm sure. Hopefully there's no weather, because we know if there's weather at Indy, that could affect things. Obviously, too far out to know if there will be weather. Let's hope not, because I really want to see Kyle Larson complete this double. That would be really cool to see. And as far as guys that have actually done it, only 2 have completed the double. Tony Stewart, as I mentioned earlier, and then Kurt Busch in 2014, the most recent to attempt and finish it, all 1,100 miles, 500 in Indy, 600 in Charlotte for the Coke 600. So we'll see if Kyle Larson can be the 3rd to do it. He'll be the 5th to attempt it. Others that have attempted it, Johnny Andretti was the very first to attempt it in 94, didn't finish. I believe it was the Indy 500 and engine failure. And Robbie Gordon attempted it 5 times, I believe, but never could complete all 1,100 miles. Tony Stewart, the first to do that in 2001. And then Kurt Busch 13 years later in 2014. And so now 10 years later in 2024, Kyle Larson will attempt to do it. This is a rare feat, y'all. Not many drivers do this, or even if they want to do it, it's hard to even get the opportunity. I mean, like Kyle Busch wanted to do it, but it's just hard to get a sponsor deal together and have the time to do all the testing and stuff. But Kyle Larson, they were able to plan it in advance. Hendrick and McLaren teamed up, and they've had this ready to go now for a while. They got it in motion last year, and they got all the paperwork done, and Larson got to do all his rookie testing and stuff to make sure he's got the proper seat time in order to compete in the Indy 500, and I think he'll do very well. He'll be in really good equipment. McLaren, one of the better IndyCar teams, and I mean, as we saw with Kurt Busch, these guys can compete well. I mean, Tony Stewart at the time, was just done being a full-time IndyCar driver. So he probably had a little bit of an advantage there with that, where Kurt Busch had never done it before. And I mean, no disrespect to Kurt Busch, but I mean, Kyle Larson, one of the all-time greatest wheelmen. So I think he will fare quite well. Just be a matter of, can he finish this thing and not get too aggressive, because Kyle Larson, as great as he is, he can be a bit aggressive at times, a little too aggressive, as we saw last year in the Cup Series. This year, I feel like he's kind of reined it in a little bit. Last year, he had a lot of DNFs and stuff. Had that incident at trying to get the pit road with Blaney and slammed into the pit wall, the barriers, I don't even know what you call them exactly. The yellow things with sand in them and stuff, and he hit those pretty hard and messed up his day last year in a playoff race. Didn't matter though; he still made championship because he was winning so much. So we'll see how he can do it. But yeah, his month of May set to be really eventful. Shout out to Kyle Larson for attempting the dirty double, because man, there is not many that can do it, but he's definitely one that's capable. So hopefully he gets it done. I hope my boy Kyle Busch can do it at some point before he retires. I'm starting to think he won't, but hey, never say never, right? If he can get the right deal together, he's got the green light from Richard Childress, so hopefully he can get the financials together and get it done. But let's move on now to our Kansas race preview, y'all. Let's preview Kansas, talk about this upcoming Cup race here. Gonna go through the entry list, kind of discuss which drivers are good here. Gonna go through the stats and stuff. Ross Chastain, we'll go number order. Ross Chastain, okay here at Kansas. You know, he's got a few top 10s in his career, 3 top 10s, a top 5, 18.2 average finish in 10 starts. Not bad, but probably not one of his better tracks. He's due for a breakout, though, so you never know. Don't sleep on Chastain. Austin Cindric in the 2. Not much success. No top 10s in 5 starts. 21.4 average finish. Austin Dillon, he's had some success here. 6 top 10s. No top 5s, though. 16.7 average finish. He has had a bad season. Josh Berry made his first start here last year, filling in for Alex Bowman. Didn't have much to show for it. Kyle Larson, really good here at Kansas. Only 1 win, though, in his career in 18 starts. Thought he might have 2 or 3, but 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s, very solid. 12.9 average finish. He'll obviously be a name to keep an eye on, one of the best in the business at intermediates. Brad Keselowski, this used to be like his track, man. Keselowski, a great track record here. 2 wins, 7 top 5s, 14 top 10s, 12.3 average finish. Brad K, definitely a name to watch here at Kansas. It kind of an off week last week at Dover, but it had been trending up prior to that. So I think Brad Keselowski will bounce back this week. Corey LaJoy, one of our younger guys. 14 starts, though, here. Wow, I didn't realize he had made that many starts. He's getting to be a pretty experienced driver. No top 10s, though, 25.1 average finish. A lot of those starts came when he was in brutal equipment. Now at Spire, he's at least got a fighting chance to compete for top 20s most weeks. Kyle Busch up next. This used to be his bad track. I remember Kyle Busch was awful here at Kansas, but as of late, he's been pretty good for his career. He's solid. 2 wins, 10 top 5s. It's very good. 15 top 10s, but a 15.9 average finish, because like I said, this track used to be bad for him, but he's gotten pretty good here lately. Had a good finish at Dover, a much needed top 5. So we'll see if KB can keep the momentum going. Chase Elliott up next. Chase, very good here at Kansas. Has a win, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and 16 starts. A very strong 10.6 average finish. He won at Texas, broke his winless streak. He'll definitely be a name to watch here at Kansas. Noah Gragson, 3 Cup starts here. Not much to show for it. Denny Hamlin, very strong here at Kansas. Finished runner-up in the fall race and won the spring race. He's the defending winner of this race. 4 wins, 13 top 5s, 14 top 10s, and 31 starts. 12.5 average finish. Safe to say Denny Hamlin will be among the contenders again this week. Ryan Blaney, not one of his better tracks, but not bad, though, at 3 top 5, 7 top 10s, and 18 career starts. 16.2 average finish. He's been pretty quiet lately. We'll see if Blaney can break through this week. Chase Briscoe, this isn't one of his better tracks. No top 10s and 6 starts. Riley Herbst's going to be making a start this week for Rick Ware Racing. Interested to see how he can do. Normally Kaz Grala in that 15, but switching it up this week, putting in Riley Herbst. Same with Colleague, that 16 cars, a rotation cars. Derek Kraus will be getting the start there this week. Chris Buescher, he's been kind of meh lately. Kansas, not really one of his better places. Only 3 top 10 and 16 career starts. Maybe he'll bounce back, but I don't know. Buescher, though, he's someone that, he's going to have to start doing better if he wants to make the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., he's good here. 2 wins, 10 top 5, 17 top 10, and 31 starts, 12.9 average finish. He's still yet to win this season. He's the highest driver in points without a win. We'll see if he can break through this week. Christopher Bell, okay here. He's been just, this has not been his year. He got that win early in the season at Phoenix, but he has just not had much go his way since. 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 8 starts. That's very good. 15.1 average finish. Pretty good. So we'll see if C. Bell can break through. He's definitely got the talent. I think he'll break through here sooner rather than later. Harrison Burton, not a good track for him. Joey Logano, he's had some good results here. 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10, 16.3 average finish. He's been a little up and down here. Just Team Penske as a whole not been that great this season, but Joey Logano, there's definitely a name to not count out. It seems like he's a guy. Whenever you count out Joey Logano, that's when he'll pop up and do good. So let's move on to the rest of the field here. Bubba Wallace, y'all. Bubba Wallace, really good here at Kansas. Won the fall race in 2022 as a win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 12 starts. His average finish, though, not that great, 21.3. But recently, it's what have he done for me lately? And lately, Bubba's been very good here at Kansas. And William Byron, he is solid here. Has never won here, but 2 top 5, 7 top 10s, 14.1 average finish. He's tied for the most wins on the year, so it wouldn't surprise me if he broke through and got his 4th win of the year this week. Hendrick, definitely the team to beat, I'd say, this week. Daniel Hemrick, 2 starts here, not much to show for it. Austin Hill going to be making another start for RCR. Had his first Cup start go sour, but maybe he'll do better this week in that third 33 car. Michael McDowell, Front Row Motorsports, he has not had a great history here. No top 10s and 25 starts, but could change this week. Front Row has been better this season, but yeah, I wouldn't bet on McDowell all of a sudden being a threat here. Todd Gilliland, another one that's not had much to show here. Only 4 starts, but no top 10, 24.3 average finish. Ryan Preece, y'all. He is, another one underwhelming. Yeah, a lot of underwhelming names here. Then John Hunter Nemechek, Legacy Motor Club. Corey Heim, they are basically the Toyota development team right now. With Eric Jones out, don't expect too much from them this week. Tyler Reddick, he won the fall race here last year. So for his career, he's got to win a top 5, 4 top 10, and 9 starts. So he'll definitely be a name to watch. He's one of the best in the business at intermediates. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just signed a contract extension, y'all, with JTG. This is one of his better tracks, but might be feeling himself after signing that extension. Alex Bowman, y'all. Now, this is a name to watch. Alex Bowman led the most laps here, I believe, in the 2022 fall race. And I think is someone that could be a very dark horse sleeper pick to win this week. 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 16 career starts, 15.7 average finish. And if you throw out the starts he made in non-Hendrick equipment, I bet those numbers would look even better. So Alex Bowman, y'all, that 48 car, I definitely think is a name to watch this week. Do not sleep on Alex Bowman. Then Justin Haley in the 51 for Rick Ware Racing. Not much to show in 6 career starts here, 27 average finish. Ty Gibbs had bad luck here last year, crashed out in the spring race, I believe, and just hadn't had much success in 3 starts. He's been a little slumping lately. He got off to that really good start, but hadn't been as good lately. We'll see if he can bounce back. Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, the rookies. We'll see if they can do something here. Jimmy Johnson going to be in the car this week for Legacy Motor Club. He has not had very good results in his limited opportunities, but maybe a couple starts under his belt now. Maybe he could pull off a top 20 or something here. And then Daniel Suarez, our last driver to talk about here. Suarez, he's had a couple top 10s here in 14 starts, but not really one of his better tracks. Like I said, this is a track that's very much kind of, it's either you got it or you don't. There's only about 8 to 10 drivers that got it, I feel like. So I'm going to go with Kyle Larson to win. I think Larson gets the victory this week. I think there's going to be a lot of other names, obviously, pushing for it. Those, like I said, 8 to 10 that could do it. Hamlin, Reddick, the other Hendrick cars, Bowman, Elliott, and Byron. Brad Keselowski, another name that could make some noise. Bubba on here, 2311 and RFK. I think would be the two teams that could possibly play spoiler to Hendrick and Gibbs. But I definitely think Hendrick has the upper hand with Hamlin and Truex being the best bets for Gibbs. But Gibbs hasn't been quite as good lately. Hendrick has definitely been the best team this season as a whole. All four of their cars looking very strong, playoff bound. So I think Kyle Larson gets it done. He's yet to win since Las Vegas, but I think Kansas, an intermediate, suits his skill set well. He's been knocking on the door. I think he gets his redemption after last season, getting nudged there by Denny Hamlin. Kind of a controversial finish. He wasn't too happy after that. It was Hamlin didn't give him any room, and they got together. I know Hamlin, as he's gotten older, he's gotten more aggressive, more controversial. But, I mean, you have to be if you want to be a consistent winner in the Cup Series, especially this modern Cup Series where drivers are willing to do whatever it takes. So Kyle Larson, though, will be my pick to get the win. And then as far as, the other guys, I think Chase Elliott, if not Larson, I think Elliott, if we're talking who the favorites I like. I just think Hendrick's the best team right now. And on intermediates, I'm not betting against them. So I'm going to say Elliott would be my alternate pick to win. And as far as sleepers that probably more like, let's say, top 5, top 10 plays, but could potentially get the win, I'd say Alex Bowman, being that he's had good results here and drives a Hendrick car. And then Brad Keselowski, because of the strategy. If strategy comes into play, Brad Keselowski and RFK have been very good with strategy this season. So I'm thinking that they could potentially sneak a win here if it comes down to that. Unfortunately, not too many Cup races these days come down to strategy. But if it ends up being in play, I wouldn't bet against Brad Keselowski and I believe his crew chief now, Matt McCall. He makes good calls there. Those two together. I feel like Keselowski's always been a good strategy guy. Him and Joey Logano. A lot of times, even if they don't have the fastest car, they're always like that sneaky kind of in the mix because they make good strategy calls. So we shall see what happens. But yeah, that's my analysis on Kansas. Then the Darlington throwback race will be happening the week after. Really looking forward to that. Probably going to, next week's episode, discuss all the throwback schemes. We'll probably load them up in here, show them to y'all, and I'll give my thoughts and all that. And there's some cool ones. I got to say, there's some pretty cool ones out there. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Kansas goes good. Go KB. I mean, hey, KB could be sneaky this week, man. Kansas, one of his better tracks as of late. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, this is Spencer Urquhart on Spencer Talks NASCAR. Catch y'all on the next one.